What are business KPIs and why should you use them? Well, first, let's start with a definition of KPIs. And KPIs are simply metrics that are used to track key results of your business. These KPIs should align the business goals, whether those are financial or operational, with the results that are actually occurring. And these are really an indicator of business health in a different way of looking at your results than just reviewing financial statements. So, KPIs, key performance indicators, are usually the top metrics in a business that really help you understand what's going on. You can have KPIs around so many different areas of the business, and there is literally hundreds, if not thousands, of KPIs that you can choose from. Now, some of those KPIs are very industry specific. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you're a business that hasn't worked with KPIs in the past, I'd really encourage you to start with some of the basics that are common across most businesses. And one of the reasons that I suggest that is simply because it's easier to get an understanding of it. And frankly, if they're being used by and applicable to all businesses, then there is a lot of weight that comes with those. They are the things that are going to get you a lot of bang for your buck. There's going to be a lot of information. There's going to be some industry standards that you can certainly look at. And there's different ways to keep those in mind. One of the other things that's true about KPIs is that they can help you more definitively analyze and make fact-based decisions about what's going on in your business. There are times, frankly, where the income statement, which is what a lot of business owners and CEOs review on a monthly basis, it can be a little misleading. And what I mean by that is that if the absolute dollars and even some of the percentages, but usually the absolute dollars are hard to understand without context. And what KPIs give you is that context. And this can be anything from a profit margin, whether that's gross profit or net profit. It can be variable expenses as a percentage of revenue. It can be, absolute changes and fixed expenses. And not all of those are what we would call a KPI, but certainly key performance indicators line up with the financial statements, and they really give you some insights into how that revenue is being driven. So as an example, a KPI that you may have is average revenue per customer. And what you're really looking for is how is that KPI performing over time? So is your average revenue per customer growing or falling? What might that indicate? Well, amongst other things, what it indicates is that you're going to have more customers to keep the same revenue on the top line. And by simply looking at an income statement, even if you're looking at it for 12 months over time, if your revenue doesn't change, you may think everything is exactly as it always has been, but there's probably these other little pains that you're feeling inside the business. It feels like everybody's a lot busier. It just feels like it takes more to get the revenue in the door. You may be seeing an increase in your marketing expense because you're having to bring more customers in to just generate the same amount of revenue and different elements like that. But if you've got a KPI that looks at your revenue per customer, you can see what's actually driving those other things that you may be feeling. It could also help explain some of the margin changes or expense changes that are going on in your business. There are three big categories that you're going to want to look at for business KPIs that help you understand the business health. We'll talk about those in a future video, but the three main categories have to do with customers and customer acquisition and keeping those customers. liquidity, as well as profitability. Now, again, there are a whole host of other categories. Some of them are industry specific, but the thing about those categories is that it is really what is going to help you understand the most impactful things to your business, both in the short term and in the long term. And those are the reasons that you want to consider using KPI in your business. Now, I do have a word of caution for you, and that is that KPIs can get out of control very, very quickly. There is no lack of data for most companies, and it can be really tempting to start measuring everything under the sun. And one of the challenges with that is then you're just going to have a lot of data. You may have a lot of data that's providing useful information to you, but you cannot act on every single result that you are reviewing. And that is true with KPIs. That is true with every line item on the income statement. That is true with every piece of data that you're going to find. You cannot take action on everything. And by having a lot of data, it can be overwhelming. Data overwhelm is a real thing. KPI overwhelm is also a real thing. So as you're considering using KPIs in your business, you really want to do that through the lens of what is going to provide the most value to the CEO, the owner, the management team to help them make the most timely decisions and decisions that are going to have the most impact with the least amount of effort. And KPIs are definitely something that can help you do that. So I want to know if you're using KPIs in your business or with your client's business, if you find them useful, how many you're tracking, and what some tips are that you might have for best using KPIs with a business. Also, please remember to subscribe to our channel so you can be notified of future videos when they get posted.